Welcome, everybody, to your Tuesday night NWSL Live. I'm Jordan Angeli. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, it was a fun weekend in NWSL action, a lot to talk about and dive into. But in order to do that, I need to bring in my pals, the people that held it down last week when I was unavailable to do the show. Lindsey, Jeff Kassouf. What's happening, you guys? It's been not only a lot of NWSL games, but have you guys recovered at all from those Olympic games? I mean, drama.
Drama for sure. And no, I haven't recovered. I don't think Jeff has either. So
no. Yeah, I'm gonna echo the no there.
Yeah, exactly.
Lori, what's the best game you called? Because also just a round of applause for Lori Lindsey and all the work she did calling all those games.
Oh, thank you. Best game? Goodness. What was a fun one was Ivory Coast, Brazil, because that for the men, actually, sorry, because I also called men's games. And all of that to be said, because the group that I had, they thought Brazil and I can't even think what the other team is. Germany, we're gonna run away with to like go into the next round, right? And Germany just had like barely any players. They got smashed by Brazil in the opening game, and then all of a sudden Ivory Coast comes out of nowhere and like ends up advancing to the knockout stages. So a fun game, fun group to call.
Yeah. Well, now that Canada are gold medalists, there's some Canadians in NWSL, Jeff. Who we trying to get on NWSL Live next with their gold medal?
All are welcome. Yeah, I think gold medal required. That'll be elation.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got plenty of people to get at the post Tokyo, but I'm going to bring you guys right back because we're actually going to mix things up today. We are going to talk to someone in NWSL here right now from Kansas City. This is someone who I had the pleasure of playing with in Western New York Flash back in the day. She's in Kansas City right now, but the real thing that she's a Colorado girl through and through. We're now joined by Kristen Hamilton. Kristen, how are you doing? So good to see you.
Good, of course. Right when you introduce me, it starts a big truck comes by, but I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. You look like you're in a cozy little swing out on the porch. And
yeah. I mean, not a swing, but nice. nice
Whatever's behind you looks like a swing, like one of those cool.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not.
Okay, so it's been a wild couple of weeks, but now that you've settled into Kansas City, how are you liking it?
Yeah, it's different. I think the city itself is a little bit like Raleigh in the sense that, I mean, it's hot, it's humid, it's, but yeah, it's fine. I mean, we're finding stuff to do and enjoying it. Finally settled. We just got into our apartments last week, and yeah, it's good. It's nice to feel a little bit more settled now.
Awesome. Good. Well, Jeff and Lori are now back with me. I know that all three of us have really enjoyed watching you play over the years. Now joining a new team, I feel like we're curious your attributes and what you can bring to a squad. How do you feel like it fits in with this Kansas City team?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of young talent on this team. I think that there's so much potential here. It actually reminds me a little bit of Western New York when we first got there. Just a lot of raw talent that I think once fostered and developed can be a really, really good team. And I think that we've shown glimpses this season, even in the games that I watched Kansas City, like just so close to winning games and just not quite being able to yet, unfortunately, but we're working on that. So, yeah, I think that for me, I have a lot of experience now in the league, so I can bring that veteran presence to this team and help hopefully guide and direct just the younger players in, I think, a direction that can help.
Yeah. The tables have turned, Kristen.
I feel like you now. I'm like the you of Western Park.
Whoa.
That's something that I was curious about too, because yeah, you are considered like a more experienced player, prolific goal scorer. I am not recovered from the Olympics. and in this league. And so is that something that you talked to Hugh Williams about? How have you managed that transition and be able to come in and like be a vocal presence with a team that you're new to?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's definitely, especially now, like you said, being new to a team is more of a lead by example situation. It's more of a come in and put my head down and do the work. And no, I'm probably not going to tell people off for things. I'm probably not going to bring people aside and have conversations. But for me, it's like all I can control is my actions. So for me, it's showing up every day and just being a professional and just bringing to the table, you know, whatever I can bring with actions, not necessarily words at the moment.
Yeah.
How's it been for you? With, you know, you're kind of a focal point of this attack in Kansas City and North Carolina. You played in that kind of double 9. You played in that double 10. What's it been like, kind of adjusting tactically, and even you said veteran, and that kind of encompasses even that off the field, Kristen, but even on the field of like carrying that on your shoulders a bit, you know, to be kind of a go-to in the way that Kansas City sets up.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, you said it's a different system. I've typically played a 2 front. So for me, it's a learning curve as well. You know, going and playing 3 forwards, of course I've done it, but I haven't actually trained fully in that system in honestly a very long time. So for me, it's getting over that, I guess, just newness of the position. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's football and we're going to go out there and play. But it's just gelling, and it's nice. Haley Mace obviously came here with me. We've played together a lot at the Courage, and just having that comfortability. I've played with Darian Jenkins before, having that comfortability with her as well. I think just having that has already kind of let us settle in and be able to openly communicate with each other what we need from each other and what we want from each other. And I think that's just going to continue to flourish and develop. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of talent here. And I think it's just putting the right pieces together and finishing out a game.
Yeah, we've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of your teammates already on NWSL Live, and it's been fun to get to know some of these players that play for Kansas City. And yeah, it does seem like a fun group of players, and we wish you continued success there in adapting to this new team. And everybody that's watching on Twitch, thank you so much for watching. If you have questions for Kristen, please send them in. We still have some more for her, but we're going to try to get to some questions from you guys as well. So write them in the chat and we will be on the lookout. Kristen, I know, because we're Colorado girls, right? I got to keep an extra eye on my pal here, Kristen. You have recently become very handy. Well, that's not a confident laugh, but you have.
Go on.
Tell me how that started, when you have bought a house in Colorado and you're revamping and flipping it. Did it start with the house? Did it start before that? When did you realize that this was something that you liked to do?
Yeah, I mean, this off season was absolutely insane doing that. It was a short turnaround, but for me, I grew up around kind of, my dad's, he's in construction. He's always done like jobs around the house. Anytime he's doing stuff, I was always just fascinated by it. I was always into it. I was always interested. And obviously, like, house flipping has probably become like very popular the past few years with all the HGTV shows. But yeah, it was just something that I've always kind of had in the back of my mind. My mom was in real estate, so I've always been interested in that as well. And then she actually was redoing her house this off season. I think last September, she started redoing her house, and I asked her to let me do the bathroom. And she was like, yeah. She said yes. She said, here's my Home Depot card. Go and do it. Here's a budget. And I said, are you serious? So she let me just go to Home Depot. So I obviously asked my dad for some help, and we gutted the bathroom and just completely redid it. You can see I think the videos on my Instagram somewhere that I posted. But yeah, so it kind of started with that. And then I was like, yeah, I did a bathroom. I can do a whole house. Let's go. So the house just honestly kind of fell into my lap. My best friend's mom is a real estate agent and knew a seller who didn't want to put the house on the market. So it was an off-market deal. And I was like, yep, let's do it. And I had about 6 weeks to turn it before I had to get into preseason. So I was there literally every single day for 10 plus hours.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I understand that laugh too at the beginning where you're like, because I'm revamping my place and I've taken the kitchen and the bathroom down to the studs. And, and it's been like 9 months and I'm like, still have that laugh, like, please let it be. So, you know, if you want to come to Philadelphia, please do.
Yeah. Hey, I've got so many messages on Instagram stuff of people being like, I'll fly you out to Arizona, I'll fly you out here and do this. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not like, I need my own tools. I can't afford that right now.
Amazing. What was the most, did you flip that house though? Did you sell it or you actually have it?
I'm holding and renting it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. What was the difficult thing?
The most difficult?
Yeah.
They had like an enclosed patio on the back of it and it was not up to code at all. So when I bought it, it was like fully enclosed, all the windows and stuff were there and it looked great, but you could see like cracks in the drywall and stuff. So I ended up ripping it out and doing a concrete pour and making an outdoor patio, which is what it originally was, but they had enclosed it and it was just like, it was so poorly done. But I'm like, I don't know anything about structural soundness of a patio. Like, I don't know. Like, I took a building class in college, but like, that didn't teach me this. So I had to, that ended up being like the most difficult project. Probably we literally had to tear off like a whole side of the house and kind of rework it and reinforce it and make that structurally sound. So that was a big job.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not as deep into renovation as Lori, but we are finishing the basement. So I guess we're
you're in the club then too.
Yeah, we're kind of in the. So what? All right. So you're hitting my jam here with like house flipping. What are you watching for inspiration? HGTV. Like, who's your style?
I know that I love that Jeff's jam is HGTV.
Yes, soccer and HGTV. Yeah.
Sure. Soccer. And house flipping. We got it.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't been watching much, to be honest. This whole year, I've been kind of busy to really sit and watch anything, but I do love like Joanna Gaines. Like, come on, give me some Joe.
Okay. Just bought this chair, which is her brand that I'm sitting in. So we're on the same page.
Super fan.
Is that your style then? Like the modern farmhousey?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
It sounds like with that answer as well, it sounds like you have an eclectic style. Like I like that, but I also like other things.
No, I do. Definitely not as farmhousey probably, but
yeah.
I like neutral colors, pops of black, you know.
Love it. We have a question from Twitch, SurferDude24. Kristen, how, as a seasoned veteran, do you keep a young team motivated through the rest of the season? There's still a lot of season to play, so.
There is, and I think that that's motivation in itself. I think that losing is motivation. It's hard when you're not seeing the results come. It's hard to, stay dedicated and motivated, but I think that starts from the coaching down to kind of rally us all together and say, hey, like we have something to play for here. It's, if nothing else, it's pride and play for each other and to just get through the season and be as happy as we can be at the end of it. And for me, it's like I said, all I can do is what I can control and try to score goals and try to help us win games. And if people, you can tell when people are feeling down, you can tell when people are feeling unmotivated. And it's just, I'm not comfortable being a huge vocal presence in a locker room in front of everybody, but I'm totally happy to pull young players aside and give little pep talks, little speeches, you know what I mean? Just rally them around and say, hey, like, I know it's hard and I've been there. And that's what's good about my experience so far is like, I've started at the Western New York Flash when it was just like this. And I can be like, I promise you it can get better and it will get better. So just kind of my experience and sharing my experience, I think can just allow people to see that it's not the end of the world or end of the road in their soccer careers, you know?
And you also, from experience, you can keep the locker room lighthearted with your dance moves and singing.
You know, I've been told they make people laugh. They're not good, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit because we had Denise O'Sullivan on not too long ago, and she say, we were like funniest teammate, and you were mentioned. So
Yes. I love that.
Oh, I see what's happening here. You're the one to sit next to for the little side comments. You might not be vocal out loud, but you're gonna get.
Not until I'm comfortable, and then I'll probably be the loudest one in the room. So.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of lightheartedness, your career in general, you come off the bench. I think all of us here understand the ebbs and flows of a professional sports career. How have you learned to kind of ride those waves and manage the ups and downs of when you feel like you should be a starter or not, or when you're okay with coming off the bench sometimes?
Yeah, I think again, it's easy. It's a lot easier when you're in an environment where you feel like you're getting better, whether you're playing or not, and I think that was huge. I think Paul has been so good at that with all of his players. There's so many players who are like, I would rather be playing for this team, not starting, than playing 90 minutes for another team where I don't feel like I'm being challenged or getting better on the day-to-day. Because at the end of the day, we are spending our majority of the time at training. So if you're not having fun at training, but you're playing every game, it's doesn't really hit the same. So for me, it was always a little bit easier because Paul made the session so good. I always felt like I was getting better, whether I was playing or not. And of course, there are hard moments. And of course, you want to play and you want to be on the field. We're all competitors. I think we're all professionals. We all, obviously, that's what we want in the end. But for me, it was kind of embracing my role at any given moment. And if I feel like if you can do that with your mindset, that it just made those waves a little bit easier to ride. And it was, at the moment right now, I'm going to come in and play 15 minutes. That's all I can control right now. So I'm going to go out there and just be as prepared as I can be for that role and understand that every role is important, because it's really hard when you don't feel like you're contributing to the team if you're not on the field. But you can bring so much more to a team than the minutes you play on a field. And I've been specifically told, like early on in my career, that I could have been waived, but I brought so much off the field to a team. And I think that that's important to note as well, is that players who aren't playing minutes can actually contribute to the success of a team without actually being on the field. And I don't think those players or players in general get enough credit for that.
There's your motivation right there. I mean, you are leading your team, no matter what you say. That's really good, Kristen. I know we want to be respectful of your time. We have a quick rapid fire thing. If you have to go, you can go.
Okay, rapid fire. Let's go.
Okay, rapid fire. Okay, let's do this. The Olympics just ended. What was the weirdest sport that you found yourself watching?
Canoeing.
Yeah.
Okay, hike day or beach day?
What'd you say? Sorry.
Hike day or beach day?
Yeah, I'm missing it.
Are you going on a hike or are you going to the beach?
Oh, sorry. It was just breaking up for a sec. Depends on where I'm at, but maybe beach.
All right, I don't know if you've had time to get with the Kansas City barbecue scene, but different styles, Kansas City, Carolina barbecue. What are you going for?
I haven't. I can't speak. I don't want to make anyone mad. No, I just haven't. I haven't gone and tested them out yet. So I'll get back to you.
Fine answer. Okay. What's your go-to coffee order?
Oat milk latte.
Eat out or stay at home and cook?
Stay at home and cook.
What's something that not a lot of people know about you?
I got offered a bowling scholarship.
Bowling?
We'll have a part two of this interview, okay?
Part two coming very soon. Oh my gosh. Your favorite place that you've been to in the world?
New Zealand.
All right. Sweet. That's all we got. I was just looking through the questions to see if we had anything else. Kristen, as always, it's so fun to talk with you. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. Thank you guys for asking some questions in the Twitch chat. And we are excited for you in this new journey. So best of luck in Kansas City.
Thank you guys. Nice chatting.
Good luck.
All right. We'll be right back with our next segment here on NWSL Live. Stick with us. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Jordan Angeli here. What a fun conversation with Kristen Hamilton. She brings a lot of joy, a lot of energy, and will fit in very well in Kansas City. And we told her off the air, the colors there in Kansas City, they've got some nice colors. Lori, Jeff, join back with me now. I do like these new teams that have come into the league, bring a little different spice with the colors. When you're talking about Kansas City, that's one of them.
Yeah, hopefully stick with the teal.
Yeah.
I just Kristen Hamilton and people comment how great she looks in those colors.
Oh gosh, you gotta love it. And just cool to hear what she loves to do. And now everybody also knows that Jeff loves a home renovation. I do as well. So I will put my hand up with that, but we know now he sits in a Joanna Gaines chair and where his real alliances lie. So thank you, Jeff, for disclosing that.
Not as easy to build as you would think.
Yeah. Oh, it's like every piece of furniture that you buy from the store, right? All right, well, let's get into 3 points. Our 3 points over the weekend. We're gonna talk about things that are interesting to us. I'm gonna start with you, Lori. Your point over the weekend is.
Oh, I thought you were going to lead me in. Here we are. My point is really OL Reign and Laura Harvey returning. Sam Lady doing fabulous job since she took over. Obviously, has been a long-time assistant. Took a little bit to kind of start to get some momentum. But I am really curious, along with all the OL Reign fans, what this is going to look like. It was a huge win against Houston over the weekend. Started to see Lisa Mayer last weekend scoring her first brace, and then 5 goals this weekend. So some of the final production that we've been expecting to see all season with the caliber of players. So I'm really curious to see what Laura Harvey can do. We all know about what she did in the early years of this league, and one of the best teams I think that will go down in history in this league. And so it'll be fun to see. And I think that this team is going to be excited and they'll rally around. And with that win against Houston, they actually put themselves in 6th position. So they're now in the playoff position, which we haven't really seen them in a lot this season. Now, granted, the last thing I'll say is that those numbers are really tight between the top 2 and the bottom. There's nothing that separates, but bodes well for the Reign going into this last part of second half of the season.
Yeah, I led you in like that because I didn't want to steal your thunder on the Laura Harvey point, but I think that's a really good point, and I'm glad we led with that because we're seeing just how important coaching can be, and something that when there is a new coach, you see a little vamp or revamp in the squad. And this is a squad all 3 of us have talked throughout this year, even last year, about when's it going to click for this OL Reign squad. And this could be very much the time because players talk about how much they love Laura Harvey and what she can bring on the coaching side of things. So exciting stuff there for the Reign. Some good goals. If you haven't gone and watched those highlights, go and watch those highlights. Some goals there. Speaking, we're going to stay on the coaching front. Jeff, your point from over the weekend, actually really as of recently.
Yeah, past few hours here, obviously a coaching change in Washington for the Washington Spirit. Richie Burke stepping down, team citing health concerns, and puts the Spirit immediately on a search, obviously, for who's next. And, we talked about the Spirit. We had Richie Burke on the show only a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the Spirit kind of. How do you kind of keep the continuity and such a young, talented core? How do you have them stick together in a league where there is a lot of player movement? And, the coaching aspect obviously is part of that. So we've talked about this with Portland and some impending changes there. Almost half the league, obviously, seeing some changes over this short period of time in the coaching position. So, really interested to see Washington is in that mix that we keep talking about where there's 7 teams. They're 3 points off second, but they're sitting in 7th right now. So, plenty to play for this season for Washington, and obviously a really talented young core. So, really interested to see now, maybe whereas we thought, okay, how do you kind of keep the players together? Obviously now a change in coaching philosophy at some point here. We'll be interested to see what that means for the Spirit with so much talent there.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things too, you think about is a coach to care for such young talent. And Chris Ward will be stepping into a role as of right now. And he's someone Lori and I know very well. When I was playing in Washington, and I know Lori as well, we went and I would train with him when I wasn't playing very much, because he cared for you technically, tactically. He thinks the game very well. So I know they're in good hands as of right now. And just all our best to Richie Burke as he deals with whatever's going on health-wise. So, all right, that's 2 points down. You guys, I'm going to totally switch it up. I'm not going to go for coaches. I'm not going to do it. My point, cue the Olympic music. I'm just kidding. We don't have Olympic music because, copyrights and stuff. But, but I don't know if you guys saw this. I was absolutely cracking up with Gotham doing their Olympics, their own style of Olympics. The players, they were broken up into teams. There was an Italian team that had fake mustaches, and I'm just cracking up about all the things that they did. Did you guys watch these videos?
Yeah, I watched some of them. They are hilarious.
Okay, one of the things they did was a dizzy bat PK contest. I was like a little bit nervous for these players. They were spinning around doing, then spinning around. I don't know how many times they even did it, but then going to shoot a penalty. You can see them trotting out in their lederhosen there. I love that they did this because the season can be long, Lori. Jeff, you know this too from your time playing, but also from writing about soccer all the time. It can be a long season. You need to loosen it up at times as well. And they found a way to do this. They had a egg walking contest, like don't break the egg. They did the dizzy bat. What was the other one that they did that was just so hilarious? I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but yeah, it was so funny, and I felt like it needed to be mentioned and shown to everybody. You guys agree?
Absolutely.
Decent one, Jordy.
So funny. We even need to mix it up sometimes, talking about some heavier things and then bringing in some Gotham Olympics. So I can't remember off the top of my head which team won, but congratulations for all teams for just participating and being hilarious while doing so. All right. Our last little bit here, we are just going to smush this in here, do everything all at once. The game that there was really good games over the weekend. Laura, you talked about the 5-1 win that Reign had and the goals that were scored there. So the storylines at NWSL just continue to be developing as this year plays out. But we talked a couple weeks ago. We had Take It or Leave It, right? Our segment, Take It or Leave It. And we talked about Orlando, and they were really having a tough time. And I'm pretty sure it was, they weren't going to be able to get out of this slump that they were in. And I wasn't having it. I was saying, no, if Ashlyn Harris is making these saves, it's going to eventually, something eventually good is going to happen. And we see that over the weekend. It's the Orlando Pride getting a 2-0 win at Chicago, a very difficult place to win. Lori, I'm going to go to you first. When you're watching this game and seeing seeing Orlando Pride play and get a result, what do you chalk it up to?
Well, I'm sticking with the theme of the coaches because
we're going back.
As we talked about, right, there's like a lot of parity in the league, and the smallest little things are separating teams right now. And so certainly we've seen with Lori Harvey or Sam Lady come in and take over, right? The turnaround that we've seen with Ola Reign, and the same here with Becky Burleigh. Clearly there needed to be something fresh within this team. We're seeing them switch up their formation. Sydney LeBrew, who I have touted at the beginning of the season, could easily be an MVP. She is leading the league in goals scored. Yep, thank you. Tooting my own horn here. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that wants to fight. You can tell this team wants to fight together, and just a few little changes. Becky Burleigh has a tie and now a win against Chicago in these last two games. So good things ahead, I think, for Orlando. And now they're just going to start to collect some other players back to just deepen their roster even more.
Yeah. And Chicago is a team that they know who they are. They know their identity. Jeff, this is a blip for them, a loss against this Orlando team, but they show so many good qualities, especially with their front runners. And it seems like Kealia Watt and Mallory Pugh really are at a place where they're continuing to find ways to get in front of net. It's just that last piece of finishing.
Yeah, I think that's something that we've talked about with Chicago for a little bit now, and we've seen it kind of in waves and spurts. And maybe you say that's slightly inconsistent in that sense, that they've kind of gone on these runs, hit a rough patch of sorts. I think started the season in that rough patch and then came out of it. But that's also, as we've kind of said it through these weeks, that's how a lot of these teams have been. It's been one of the weirdest seasons in that sense for the form guide for all these teams, and nobody, outside of really, as we're seeing Portland now in this last little stretch, has gotten into that real consistent flow. So I think it obviously speaks to the parity a bit. But I think Chicago, obviously, always in the mix, especially with 6 playoff spots, will be in the mix down the line here. But I'm curious. I remember you calling that shot, Lori, but did you call out before games even kicked off for LaRue for MVP?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it might have been in
Okay.
between. It might have been in between Challenge Cup and the start of the year.
Okay.
The last Challenge Cup game that we called, that I was like, listen, she could be up for it.
Okay, that's impressive. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Well, interesting too. Like, of course, I want to toot my own horn just for I'm with you two. But I think looking at it too, it was a time for Sydney, right? Again, the belief with players being gone, she was a veteran, experienced player. She was going to need to lead this team, and knowing Sid and playing with her, she thrives in those moments. So it was a perfect season, I think, so far. Plenty still left to play, but she continues to show up.
Yeah. And Jodie Taylor with the first goal in that game as well.
And then bringing back Alex Morgan too, right? So
yes. Yeah. They've got a few different players. I think for me, it was the post-game huddle with Becky Burleigh. We've seen that all too many times with her, with the Florida Gators, just in those post-game huddles, giving the talk, and you're like, what's happening here? What is this, deja vu? So it's nice to see Becky Burleigh in that position. Not something I think she ever anticipated, but a player that everyone that we know that have played for her really have great things to say. So if anybody can unite a squad and continue to give them freedom to play, which is something they've talked about, but also belief in who they are and what they can do, it's her. So a good win for Orlando over the weekend, and a good show, guys. Thanks for joining me. It's always nice to chat with both of you. I will be just figuring out what our Olympic games look like. Start preparing your costumes now, and we will be doing that soon enough. All right, you guys in?
Oh, we're in.
I like it.
Dressing up for this show.
All right, Jeff and Lori, so good to have you guys. Thanks for being here. Everybody watching, thanks for tuning into NWSL Live. It's so nice to be with you guys here Tuesday nights. So until next week, that's it for us. Enjoy the games over the weekend.